to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in NRL Supercoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Mattrix, and Whisperer.
Yes, Tinlist Tuesday is back. You're watching the Insight NRL Show, guys. It is round 2, so we're here to talk all things team lists. There are a few little, I guess, curveballs, Josh. What did you make of it, mate? Bit going on?
Bit going on. My day was ruined at about 10:30 when the news hit that Arrow was out for potentially the season, and like we knew that Lenu was going to be suspended for a lengthy time, so I'd mentally prepared for that. But I didn't prepare for my main front row forward to be out for the season after 1 week. And now I'm sitting here with a dilemma being like, I don't know what to do. So, yeah, fun stuff. Very fun stuff.
Yeah, always fun. You know, we love Supercoach, but we hate it at the same time when things like that happen and you open up your app and you've got 2 red dots at 4 p.m. in your front row, which is my team at the moment. So we'll talk about some players that we can look at to replace those guys. They're going to be pretty popular, I think. Guys, the show is brought to you by the Standard Squeeze and Ryan from Astute Newstead. We are live, of course, so drop your questions in below. We will cover them at the end of the show, so don't stress if we're not answering them throughout. We'll get to you at the end. Make sure to hit subscribe and like if you haven't as well. Follow, review if you're listening to us on audio on the Wednesday morning. How'd you go, mate? I missed the Sunday wrap-up show. You and Mattrix did that one. How'd things finish up? We know our rank now is on the screen. It's going to be on the screen every week, and it's got 5 figures, which I don't love.
No, like I don't think I've had a year where I've started inside the top 10K. Like I put this on X. Like all my good finishes, I've started 36K, 50K, 75K. Like it's whatever. I put a post up today with the team of the week. Like if you just pick 13 guys, no captains, no reserves, you'd be in 9th. So it just shows you how close everything is. Like. I say we're only like 400 points off the lead. That's not that much. That's 20 points a week. So it's fine. Like it is what it is. I finished on 858. Yeah. All my benching decisions were right. Like I picked the right guys to start and sit. But I mean, I could have started Denny Levi over Tupanil, but that was just never happening. But apart from that, like I was tossing up between Tuapiki and Salmon, I was on the right side of that. Just small things like that. But yeah, I mean, it happens when the guns don't fire. My captaincy post, the 5 best captaincy options. I had KP, Drinkwater, Hines, Cleary, and Dylan Brown, and they averaged 42.5 between the 5 of them. So it was one of those weeks where it just didn't go well, and they happen. It's okay. Don't stress too much.
Especially when everybody else is in the same boat as you. It's not like everyone else went and got 1,100 and you're sitting there with an 850. Everyone else has struggled as much as we have. Because we picked the same players because those players were the template of, in I guess, a better way of saying. So, 868 for me as well, 50,000 rank, which is fine. I went into the season thinking I'm going to, I'm aiming for the 50K this year, but I didn't, I was talking about money. Unfortunately now, 50K rank wasn't on the bucket list, but that's all right. Onward and upward.
Like we picked these players for a reason. These guys always have bad games. It's just, unfortunately, their bad games lined up on top of everyone else's bad games. So it is what it is. Like, and if you're sitting there being like, I can't believe I picked this player, he sucks. I don't want to see you go, oh my God, how good is this guy when he scores 100 this week? Like, you just got to ride it out. Like, it is what it is. As much as we make jokes and be in jest, variance happens. I don't think I'll ever see another week where Cleary and Hines combined for less than 60 points. Like, it's just, it happens. Just move on.
Yeah. A lot of people in the comments asking where Mattrix is. That Tuesday's ruined Melissa.
He bailed.
He did, yeah. No. The good news is Mattrix will be joining us. He's just got priorities playing basketball at the moment, so he'll be on about halfway through the show. He'll jump in.
Agent Cheese, Mattrix got the Viliami for feeder treatment 1 game and dropped.
That's great.
Mattrix actually did the best out of all 3 of us. He's got the best rank out of all of us.
That's why we punted him, because he made us look bad. So, he's sitting like 42,000, I think.
New graphics as well. Let us know what you think of the new graphics in the chat. We've tried to go something a little bit more seamless and simpler, but let us know what you think. It's going to be a good week. Teamless Tuesday wasn't too bad. Everyone backed up, which was nice, but we'll go in detail. as we go.
Yep, for sure. Before we get into the formalities and the reason why everyone's here, we've got to do the squeeze of the week. Now, for anybody who hasn't been part of the squeeze of the week or seen any episodes from last year, the squeeze of the week is given to the top scorer in the Unlimited League every single week, and they win themselves a standard squeeze prize pack as well, worth about $80. And we give out one a week on every show, mind you, not just NRL, but if you're doing AFL, they'll give out a squeeze of the week for the top scorer over there too. Now, obviously, it's brought to you by the Standard Squeeze, who are helping you drink responsibly, helping you drink conveniently, keeping your beers cold, keeping your coffees nice and hot. So you can go to thestandardsqueeze.com. You can get yourself a little 4-in-1 here that I've got on the screen. You can get, I don't have my combo packs here. That's criminal. You can get a little plastic combo pack, and it measures your shots for you, basically. And you don't go dropping glass bottles everywhere and breaking a full bottle of spirits. It's tragic. So 15% off. Use Insight15. That's the code. And the top scorer in the Unlimited League goes out to Darren. So his team is Woodford Escapees. I don't know. Is that a Woodford? No, it wouldn't be. It's Wolford. I was thinking maybe it was like Justice for Wolford or something.
I don't know. I'm sitting here looking at his team. He nailed it. Jacob Little at hooker. He started with AFB. He had Lukey. He won it with Pierre Cora with a 4-pointer. So it just shows you that, like, building the foundations. I mean, he opted to go no Cleary, no Hines with SJ and Hughes, and that obviously worked out well for him. And Captain Val Holmes. What a move from Darren.
Wow. Dazza. Big Daz. We'll have to get Daz on the podcast, I think. That's good enough. 1163 to get 112th overall. So very impressive start. So we'll be cheering on Darren for the rest of the season if you can keep that one up. Mate, send us an email. It's contact@insightfantasysports.com.au. That's the email. Just confirm with a photo of your team so we know that you're not ripping us off. And we'll get that combo pack out to you, mate. Congratulations. Mate, Insight World Cup is officially up and running as well, considering we're one round in. How good's that?
Yeah, we are. You and I are not winning it. We had grand plans. We're not leading up to round one. But we'll be there or thereabouts, especially with AFL starting up this week. But yes, the Inside Fantasy World Cup, the combination of all 4 major Supercoach sports bundled into one to be your ultimate bragging rights of Supercoach supremacy. Are we still taking applications or are we closed now? We're still taking some? Okay. So I think it's before Centre Bounce of the AFL. They're open too. So feel free to join. It's $10. Prize money will be divvied up between the top 10. We've got plenty of runners in it so far. We're discussing the 3 of us and obviously the other experts as well. We might put in $20 each and get a nice trophy made up for the winner. We'll get that engraved every year and have it hung up in the Insight HQ. But if you want to get involved in that, message me, message Braino, message the Insight page. Most importantly, message the Insight page. I know a lot of you guys message me, and I flick you straight onto the main page. So it's easier to keep a hub that way. But Insight Fantasy Spot World Cup, all 4 sports, a combination of your rank put together for ultimate Supercoach supremacy.
That's it. And get this right. The current leader, he knows how to win this bloke. It's David, coach of Do It For Jack, who took out the NBL championship, the Mitsubishi ASX, this year. So the guy just knows how to win. 996 he started with, top 5%. That's good enough for. So...
and that's the thing. It's the Tour de France. You don't need to win every leg. You just need to be there or thereabouts. I think he's already spruiking his AFL team on X as well, so he's definitely getting around in the mix. And it's going to be hard to catch him being the NBL winner. I don't even think NRL's his primary sport. I think if you ask David to rank his 4 sports, NRL I think wouldn't be 1 or 2. So he started well. And got a good foothold on the competition.
He does, but it is a long season. So let's see if he can hold on.
It's round 1 of about, goodness, there's 20 rounds in NBL. There's about 15.
I reckon close to 80 rounds.
80 to 100. Yeah, it's a long way out, but good start for David, especially off the back of a great NBL season.
For sure. Let's talk injuries, mate. We'll dive into them because there's a fair few. Not quite a broken leg. Close. Anaru Tuala's got that quad injury, so he's out and been replaced by Jenkins from ex-Panthers winger. So
I feel so bad for Tuala owners because it was a good pod move on paper and it just ripped from you straight away. But Jenkins comes in. He was brought over from the Panthers. We all thought he'd be the winger 1 or the winger 2 behind Marzu. But, it was Tuala. And unfortunately for Tuala, he's always had this issue of never holding down a spot in the side. So If Jenkins gets a foothold on it, has a good game, it's going to be hard for him to be oversurped. And then that obviously rolls into other people winning their positions as well. Dylan Lucas with a HIA/broken nose. Now, when you hear broken nose, you assume a couple of weeks. I messaged Physio. We had a good chat about this. In all of Physio's memory, he's seen a player miss 1 week with a broken nose, which to me, that seems mental. I would assume a broken nose would have required a couple of weeks out, but no, he's only going to be out for the week. But that then boils down to KPP. He played 40 minutes on the weekend, scored 46 points, something like that. Unreal. He's the kind of guy, like I've said it all preseason, I love KPP so much. Like, I think once he gets the chance, it's going to be very hard to take it off him. And if the Knights do come out and get a W this week, like it really strengthens his case. If you told me you were buying KPP, like I couldn't say don't do it because it's a gamble, but I think you could get 1 week ahead of the crowd. So, yeah, definitely a watch there. As is Levi. Levi was a weird one. Now, it's reported as a quad cork, but he was sort of seen grabbing his hamstring, which I'm no expert, but it doesn't really seem right. But I don't know. Maybe it was just tightness. Maybe he had the quad cork, but it was tightness in his hammy as well. But our hero's been named. We look like absolute mugs because at halftime he was on 9 points, and we're sitting there going, "What have we gotten ourselves into?" And then just strolls over for a try.
The word Sonny Luke was thrown around a fair bit in that first half, I'll tell you that much. I'm just stoked his name because there's a couple of guys that haven't been named, and there are a few rumours floating around players, popular players that weren't going to be named, and then we've seen them named, but there's guys on the extended bench potentially that could be floating around stealing spots that we'll talk about soon. So it's nice to see a little green
won't
dot.
Be too ambiguous and not give you information. We'll get to it. Wade Egan, I'm going to be shocked if he lines up round one. Round two.
Me too.
Like,
that looked awful.
Yeah, apparently there was some whispers getting around. He told the trainer he heard a pop, which is never a good sign. Kirk Capewell's another one that's been named as well, who had like rib cartilage issues and needed injections at halftime. Like, I'd be shocked if both these guys line up in round one. It's just really weird. I've got nothing to say on it, but Wade Egan, did his elbow and apparently felt some kind of pop, whether that's a bicep tendon or an elbow dislocation. Like, you're not going to get expert injury analysis from here. Go check out the Magic Sponge, but I just don't see them playing. Like, I really don't see it.
No, and we've got Lussick on the bench, don't we? So every assumption he probably comes in. I think Jazz Tavanga is floating around in the extended bench as well, so we might see some minutes for him.
Dylan Walker, he could fill in at 9 for a bit there as well.
The forgotten man, Dylan Walker. Where's he been?
Yeah. So other guys, Raul Mulatalo, I think he's fine, but Talakai has been reported at having a sort of mid-grade syndesmosis, and it's never a fun injury to have. I remember Brian To'o had one a couple of years ago, and it was reported as 2 weeks, and he was out for close to 9. So Talakai, to see him named in round one is interesting, but not relevant for Talakai himself, but definitely relevant for Carolero if Talakai does miss substantial time, 5-6 weeks. So definitely one to keep an ear to the ground there.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of kind of non-relevant ones. I mean, Murata Niokore, he's got a foot fracture, so we won't be seeing him for a few weeks. Cam Munster's groin injury is an interesting one because we saw the press conference, I guess, or the pre-game interview with Munster, saying that one day he's great and then the next day he can barely walk, and he can't even get out of a jog. More often than not, which is a concern. He hasn't even been named in the 22, so they haven't even thought that he's anywhere close to a chance this week. And put your hand up if you drafted him with your first pick, me. So I'm almost dusted in that draft league. If he doesn't suit up for a few weeks, I could be in all sorts of trouble.
Especially in a 14-man draft when he was like your marquee guy. It's like rough. Yeah, it doesn't sound good for Munster. It's never good when a player sort of has fluctuations so much with their workings. Josh Adokar, this was a weird one. There was a break, there was a fracture, there was this, that, and that. It just looks like an AC joint from all reports. So not as bad as first thought, which is great for him. There's some weird Teamless Tuesday complications out of the Bulldogs, which I didn't expect to happen. But Adokar, shoulder, shouldn't be out for too long. He'll come back into the side. But that Bulldogs backline is going to have a reshuffle soon enough. And I think some things will get turned up on their head. Mitch Moses, now he had a groin. Now Mitch owners were pulling their hair out because he had 31 points after 13 minutes and finished on 33. So, he had that groin. He did it kicking for touch. and was basically just playing that Cooper Cronk role from the grand final when he was just directing everything. Started to kick a little bit more at the end of the game. Obviously, yeah, kept it warm. Today, he had a press conference with Danny Weidler and the crew. It was very edgy. If you watched that interview, he was very cagey, but he was adamant that he'll be fine. I wouldn't expect a great game from Moses here. You're playing Penrith. I don't think he goal kicks. Probably give that 2 weeks or so. If you have Moses, I think, like if you own Moses, Lenu, Arrow, Moses is the third priority there.
It's your third problem. Yeah.
So, but if he's like, if you're blessed with having like a decent front row, like you started with May or you started with, a premium and you've got a Flegler or whatever, like, yeah, I could probably flick him on. Question comes to who, because I'm still doubling down on my Cleary Hines stance that they're the best two to have. But Ben Hunt, if the Dragons are playing well, is an option to look at. But yeah, Moses should be fine. As with Dylan Brown, he suffered a bit of a shiner. Just knocks him down in the looks department, but doesn't knock him down in the performance department.
No, that's right. He's all good to go. Blake Laurie with the rib cartilage injury, he missed obviously the game last week, so that's still giving him trouble by the looks of things, but he's not far away from all concerns. So I guess there's question marks then that become around the Dragons and what their forward rotation looks like with him in it. They're missing a couple of guys as well, and obviously Viliami Fafita, he's dropped out of that lineup now. So there's probably a good chance a couple of these extra guys are going to miss out when Laurie comes back. Not overly relevant for now, though, unless we're talking about RFM and Leilua.
Yeah, I think it's more like what happens game day, because Laurie's been named, but he was named last week as well. I think Flanagan will play cheeky buggers. I don't expect Tom Eisenhuth is the answer at edge. Like, I don't think he's been brought there to play edge. You've got RFM, who was great. You've got Luciano Leilua, who they've signed to be their marquee edge to pair alongside with Jaden Sewer. I think some cheeky buggers will get named, especially if Laurie's ruled out. You expect to see a JDB move to prop, probably Eisenhuth move to middle, and then RFM to come on and play edge again. So Eisenhuth's stocks for me lie much greater when he's playing in the middle. His PPM is much, much better. It's night and day. In the trials, he was averaging 0.4 PPM. And then last week, I think he scored 52 in 49 minutes, something like that. So PPM much better through the middle, but I've got no interest as it stands now. Not when you've got Molo coming back, RFM, Luciano. And then, you've got guys waiting the wings, like Harmsell is named on the extended bench. He was brought in to, be a first team middle. So definitely, I've got no interest. The only interest I ever have is if Shane Flanagan comes out and says, hey, Raymond Faitala-Mariner is my edge. And until then, I see that. I've got no interest in any of these Dragons.
Yeah, for sure. One very relevant one is Jason Saab's hamstring injury from Vegas. Now, obviously, we'll be talking about Manly's teams very soon, but there is a very popular cheapie that has been named on the wing that we'll discuss in a fair bit of depth because there is some relevance to him. And Adam Reynolds has had a knee injury, but he's been named. So that's a close watch as well. Obviously, we don't know how that's going to play out beforehand, but not really Supercoach relevant either. So not overly impactful.
Worth noting with Saab, it's a grade 2 hamstring. And for someone that relies on so much pace and speed that he has, it's been graded as 6 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 8. Like a guy that's so reliant on that speed, I think it could be a little bit longer than what a standard grade 2 hamstring is. So definitely keep an eye out. But we'll delve more into that with Manly's team.
Yep, for sure. Speaking of teams, we've got a fair bit to get through, so let's move into the weekly preview. And the weekly preview, as always, is brought to you by Ryan from Astute Newstead. So, guys, if your home loan rates are above 6.2%, maybe you want to buy a home. It could be your first. It could be a new one. Maybe you want to refinance or renovate. Or maybe you just want to save some money like the rest of us. Then you can reach out to Ryan at Astute Newstead for an obligation and cost-free inquiry. His link tree is in the description below. Let him know we sent you by using the code INSIGHT. Now, we didn't really get to do a proper buy, hold, sell segment last week because it was the split round. We were kind of halfway through things, so we couldn't make too many moves there because of the Vegas guys were locked out. But we can talk fairly openly about buy, hold, sell this week. So let's move into the buys.
Buy more. Sound fair enough?
Bit of aggressive dubstep going on there. Thanks, Matty G, for doing those up.
Some peak 2010 COD montage.
Feels like candies at Sydney.
Yeah. Buy, hold, and sell. Obviously, last week we didn't have anything to go off, but we had to be prepared for one man we're going to talk about. We knew the performance. We knew the role. We were thankful enough that we could pick most of our team with him in our minds, and that is Terell May. Obviously, the most traded in player this week for good reason. I don't see the role changing. I know he's been named in the 17, like literally in the 17 jersey, but like I'm not fussed at all. Spencer Leniu being out, Jared Warrior-Hargraves not getting any younger. I would just expect Jared Warrior-Hargraves to take that Spencer Leniu role and everything stays the same. And 13,000 coaches agree, which is a staggering trading amount, but I think it's very much well worth it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've been talking about Terell May for 2 weeks since he had that big game. And I mean, look, do we expect 55 minutes from him again? Maybe not. Due to the fact that obviously Satili went down injured, Wong went down injured, the rotation got thrown all over the place. I think he ended up on an edge there for a little bit. So the minutes were inflated, but regardless, he still went at a 1.2 ppm when he played some edge. So if he gets 45 minutes in the middle, he's still a great pick. He'll put you up 50, 55 pretty comfortably, I think, in base, which we saw. I think it was 50 in base and was it 14 in evade or something? It was similar, something like that. 64, I think he scored in total, didn't he?
I'll get you the exact numbers, but yeah, played massive minutes. That PPM stayed where it was. Like I think the minutes were slightly inflated, but I'm not thinking it's going to have a massive drop off. But yeah, 50 in basically pure base, 14 in evade, which is great, especially for a guy that's priced at a 42.5. Like if he's pumping at 50 on a worse, that's great. Played 54 minutes. I expect that to drop back to like a 48, but at a 1.2 ppm, that drops him from a 64 to a 57, 58. Like I'm still happily very much take that in a position that's got so much dire. Talk about a guy that pumps at 50 base. How good was the 58 points? Some of the most boring 58 points you'll ever see from Morgan Smithies. I'm not worried one bit when Corey Horsburgh comes back. Like I'm just not.
No, they've been talking about Corey Horsburgh coming back into the prop rotation anyway. So there's every chance Josh Papali'i ends up back on the bench, and you've said openly that he's happy to play off the bench all through the preseason. He said that, so I think they'd be silly to move him now. I mean, how often do you see a guy score 60 in base and score less points? Because he got 58, he had 60 in base and then -2 in negative. So very impressive from him. He's a guy I think that you've got to lock and load on. If you don't have him, it's at the price as well. It's only 345k. So if you got one of these mid-range kind of 400k guys wrong, you've got a Fermor that you want to move on potentially if you don't trust that he's going to be in the right role after the bye. It's a nice little downgrade for 100k in your pocket.
Yeah, and the minutes are the big question. Like he's going to be relevant. He's going to make bulk cash, but it's like, is he going to have an 80-minute role? I think that's a bit of a stretch to ask a guy to play 80 minutes in the middle of an NRL game. It's not like the Super League where it's a little bit slower and there's more time spent in the ruck, so you can get a little bit more rest. A second here adds up. You make 40 tackles. There's nearly a full minute's worth of extra rest you get. So I think Smithies, he was probably going to play 80 in round one. Like he was going to play 40 straight. He had the HIA with 7 minutes to go. Came back on the second half and played the full 40. Did look a bit gassed, but I think that match fitness will come. I've got him pegged at around 60 minutes, 65.
Yeah, I think you're right. And even if you get 65, you're probably getting 55 in base, and you're happy with that at 350k. Anyway, he's going to rise in price pretty comfortably.
He was playing a little bit of Link the last 10 minutes, so his scoring sort of slowed a little bit. But if he's playing Link, especially with these big forwards, with Tarpany, with Hosking can run a great line. Hudson Young's a great line runner. Papali'i is a notable try scorer. Hello, Mattrix is in the building.
Good morning, chicken fuckers.
Hello. We're talking about Hudson Young being a great line runner. I think with all that attack, Smithies will jag some attack eventually, and that 50 base will go up to a 75, and that'll be a score that gets his price absolutely moving in the right direction.
Absolutely. Anything to add on Smithies, Mattrix? Are you a happy Morgan Smithies owner?
Yeah, I'm a Morgan Smithies believer. At 350k, you'd be mad not to. He looked good in his first outing, and I don't think Hudson Young affects it too much. I think he'll slot into the front row, and I'll make Papali'i will retire to the bench. Yeah.
Just so you're aware as well, we had a lot of comments asking where you were, and a lot of people boycotting, ready to walk out on us because you weren't here. So we're glad you saved the podcast.
You were called the Viliami Fafita of the podcast. One start, then sent to the reserve grade.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Ugh.
good. Let's move on to
we
the
love-
third.
I was going to
Sorry,
say
go.
we love Hamiso on this podcast. Like all three of us, you know,
Oh.
we spoke him up all preseason. I couldn't love him any much more than when he kicked the ball off the ground straight into
Straight to Lukey.
Helen Lukey's hands, and he strolled over untouched.
What a time! What a time!
He's our third buy. Put up a 62 on the weekend. I know there were some concerns over the minutes. He only played 59 minutes. Had a HIA in there. Had a benching, but came back on at the back end. Todd Payton's been very vocal about him easing into an 80-minute role, and he still had 46 in base, which when he's priced at a 47, we know how dynamic he is as an attacker. Like that's just pure base. That's no evade, no scoring, no, anything. Like I'm very, very keen.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Me too. He's in my team. I started with him. I love Helam Lukey. I think we were even talking about him last year, saying that if he gets an opportunity on an edge for an extended run, he's a must-have in your team. And I think the same applies this year. In games where he's played more than 60 minutes, so he's played 8 games more than 60 minutes in his NRL career so far, and he averages 77.2 in those games. So, and then again, he gets 59 minutes and scored 63. Obviously, he was given an absolute gift to score that try, but still 46 in base in 59 minutes. You can't really complain about that. I think there's also been word, Mattrix, that they're easing him into this 80-minute role that they would ideally like him to play. So plenty of positives.
Look, I'm keen to just see him play 80 minutes. That would be ideal. And like, how good is having somebody like ramping up? Like he's already covering his cost right now, and we expect him to get more and more. Like he would probably have just got his break even without that try, but he's going to jag some attacking stats as well.
Yeah, you're not picking him purely in base. You're picking him because he's on a decent team, on a good edge, plenty of attacking upside there.
Oh, and the
so
draw's
he is
really
the third.
good. The draw's really good. You got Newcastle, St George, Broncos, Titans, Parramatta, Sharks. Like for the first 7 rounds, like you got one tough game in there. Like historically with Supercoach defensive teams. So yeah, I'm really keen. I think as those minutes improve, he won't play Origin. They have a really friendly buy. Sorry, not a friendly buy schedule. He's out 16 and 19, but like he's a guy I could probably just hold. Like if injuries happened and like he never came out of my team and he was my 2 RF6 at the end of the season, like that's fine.
Absolutely. Quick question from Cade here in the chat, Mattrix. Any post-basketball celebratory drinks?
Drowning the sorrow is more likely. He probably shot 1 from 9 from the field, 2 turnovers.
Hey, I just make the team
foul.
better. Only 2 turnovers. I'm a point guard, man. I average about fucking 6.
Love that. Bit of Russell Westbrook in that. The fourth buy on the list here is Terell May, and that's a pretty obvious one, boys, but 40% owned? Like, I thought he would have at least cracked 50% to start the season. Matty, like how I guess now he's a guy you've just got to get in, isn't he?
100%. They scored 0 points, and he was like the best scorer on most people's teams. Like 67, they scored 0 points. Absolute no-brainer. There is like no rhyme or reason to anti-pod Terell May.
Yeah. I mean, 32 in evade, Josh. 32 points in pure evade.
Yeah, I just realized that I need to, when we start this call, I need to change my name from my actual name to my Twitter handle.
Everyone knows who you are, mate. It's all right. You got the biggest following out of a lot of us, so.
No, it's fine. No, I mean, Terell May, yeah, absolute stud. Like we said this all preseason, we loved him for the work that he can do. He scored 70 points in a team that scored 0. Like if that's not the most promising thing there is, then I don't know what to tell you. He was the best player in the park for the Panther, probably second best behind Isaiah Yeo. Like just workhorse, can break a tackle, like big body, hasn't missed a step, like unreal. Just get him in. He's more of a priority than Zach. He's more of a priority than Zach Laybut, which sounds stupid because Laybut just scored 100.
Big time. We don't even have him on this buy list. And that's not to say that he's not a good option if your team allows for it. We just feel that there's some better choices. And Mattrix is live changes to the notes here. So I might quickly throw over to him because he's got one more player he'd like to talk about.
I just see.
Look, it's the great Luke Metcalf. 5/8 number 1 for the competition at the moment. Like I was just wondering how much it was going to cost to go from Dillbags to Luke Metcalf. sometimes it's not what you spend, it's what you save. So you could have like 300k and have the best 5/8 in the game. Look, in all fairness, he did just play an absolute blinder, but people are getting excited about like a Jacob Little at 450k in a shit position. I would say 5/8 is just as bad, really. And this guy's 480k. I just want to bring him up. I was spooking it. He went fantastic. Look, he did score 25 in base, 20 in 8, and 17 in scoring. But he's just one to keep an eye on. If he scores another 70 this week, it'll be hard not to find a way to get him in.
With how much you talked him up all preseason, like you own him, surely, don't you?
Yeah, in multiple draft competitions.
Fraud.
Absolute
Fake.
fraud.
Fake fan. All right, they're the buys. Let's move on to the hold. Couldn't think of anything else but Braveheart. Brendan Piakura, boys. I mean, he's been named. It looks like he's got through concussion protocol okay. There was news last week he was getting through that fine, so he's been named. I know people are probably panicking around the 4 that's going to be in his rolling average for that first price rise, but we know that it drops out the quickest. So I guess the first score of the year, Josh, is the one that you worry about the least when it comes to cash gen.
More people are trading at Piakura than they're trading at Tamalolo. It seems mental to me. Like, why? Like, look, I don't own Piakura, and I'm very happy he scored a 4 as someone that doesn't own, of course. But like, this was my suggestion, and I don't understand why people are trading him out. Like, it's not like he played 80 minutes and scored a 4. If you did that, totally different story. But he played 2 minutes and got a 4 with a HA. Like, you can't predict these things. Round 1, if you're going to get a shit score in round 1, like, that's the round to do it. Like, don't sell him. Just don't.
No, it makes no sense. We did say that there were concerns around his PPM being low and he minimal base and all that, and very attacking reliant, but he should find that attack for the Broncos on a decent team.
Yeah.
So less concerns there for Piakura. But boys, do we really have to tell people to hold Nicho Hynes?
I feel like we do. If you read social media, like, I don't know if it's like people having a go or like having a bit of a laugh, but like, I wouldn't be surprised. So at the moment, Nick Cottridge is the 10th most sold player with 1,900 tradeouts. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Nicho Hynes have like 1,500 people trade him out. And like,
Wild.
all 1,500 people are going to post on X being like, why did I trade him out? And I'm just going to be like, please explain to me why. Like, what was your thought process behind trading out the best Supercoach halfback in the comp? Like, we can have a conversation about selling Nicho Hynes next week. If he looks terrible again and Trindle is taking away all the attack, then yes, let's have that conversation. But if he scores 40 again this week, but looks, I said this to Mattrix in the wrap-up show, like, if he scores 40 again, but a back row drops the ball, or Mulatalo just gets taken out, like, if he passes the eye test again, like, I'm just going to hold him because I know that the variance will turn. He'll score 180 against the Dragons, and everyone's going to be like, why did we ever trade him out? It's all about the eye test thing with Nicho Hynes, not so much the scores, which sounds silly. But you do have to commit next week, because if he has a poor score but looks really good and you commit to holding him, you have to be okay with opening up your app next month or 2 Mondays' time and seeing minus 180k, minus 150. Like, you have to be okay with that. So you have to commit next week. But for me, it's just about the eye test. And
Mattrix, he's got the Tigers next week as well. So, I mean, surely that's got to influence your decision as to whether you're selling him.
He could have a break even at 200 and probably nearly cover that against the Tigers. But
at halftime,
like, genuine, like, people talking about trading him out, like, genuine captain option, I think. Like, he's just one of those guys that the second you trade him out, he's going to get 180 and it is going to hit you right in the feels.
He's playing the same team that someone's halfback scored 30 points in 12 minutes. Like, and I was terrified of and that's playing in a side with 2 dominant halves and a dominant fullback. Like, Will Kennedy ain't that dominant. Braden Trindle's fine. Like, Hynes is going to get the touches. I think he had the quad tightness. Playing in New Zealand is never fun.
And also, the captain choices this week aren't exactly just slam dunks. So, you know, we'll talk about that. I won't ruin captain segment, but it's a bit tricky to pick one this week. So Nicho definitely is a standout in that category as well.
Like I'm talking like straight captain, because
and
everyone else I'm looking at, So like
100%.
I'm already locked in Nico, and you guys know that I own Cleary, so I can't look at him against Parramatta. And then you guys know who my fullbacks are. You know my fullbacks are Trbojevic, and you know they're Kalen Ponga. Trbojevic plays the Roosters, and KP plays the Cowboys in North Queensland. So it's like they're not slam dunk picks. Like I probably will lean for having the vice captaincy on Hines, but there's a world where I just do a straight captain.
Yep, agreed. And one, I guess, extra note would be that he averages a little bit shy of 101 at PointsBet in 18 games. So, if you want to take that on, be my guest. But I will
also
not be.
averaged 101 versus New Zealand.
We don't talk about things like that, Josh. We leave those things in the past, okay? There's enough mental scarring already from the weekend. Sithili Tupanua is the final hold. He's been named. He's fit, good to play. A bit of, I guess, a panic maybe from people seeing a 20-odd from round one.
Just rinse and repeat what we said with Pierre Cora.
Yeah. If you watch the game, he was injured 3 minutes into the second half. You've got to just give him another go. You got him for a reason. What's changed except for the fact that he had a fairly decent first half and then got injured.
On another day, he also scores 2 tries. Like Braino and I were sitting there watching it, and like Tupanua looked very close to going over a couple of times. So that will come. Same thing. Like if he has another poor game this week, then let's have a look at addressing that. But we're getting free looks at these guys, and we picked them for reasons. And nothing in round one changed my opinion on Pierre Cora or Tupanua if I was an owner. Like nothing showed me that they're trade outs.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's move on to the sells. Obvious one, Spencer Leniu. Let's get that one out of the way. We said it last week. We'll say it again this week. He is by far and away the most traded out player because he is suspended for 8 rounds or 8 games. So he will be back round 10. I was really hoping it'd align with the rematch in round 9, but he misses it.
They couldn't do it. They just couldn't. Like, could you imagine the uproar? Like, they just couldn't do it. But yeah, let's leave Spencer Leniu chat out of the chat, please, tonight, guys. I know that it's going to cause a lot of not needed debate, so let's just leave it. Jai Arrow. Looks like his season's done.
Fuck's sake, man.
Oh, you couldn't write this shit, could you? So for anyone not following, my front row forwards were Leniu and Arrow, so this is going to be a great time to make front row forward trades. It's the best. But yeah, Jai Arrow, I mean, minimum looking, 6 to 8 weeks, upwards of the season if we need shoulder labrum surgery or like, I don't know, there was some kind of rotator cuff. Yeah. So not good. I don't know which injury would have kept him out. There was about 8 to choose from that game for Jai Arrow. So one of them finally caught up to him, but whether he's out for 6 weeks or whether he's out for the season, like hasn't changed my opinion on him. He's not cheap enough to hold. He doesn't have enough upside as a premium to hold. Like just sell him for someone else, especially when you've got a guy like Terell May just sitting there staring you in the face.
Yep. Yeah, and a guy that potentially could be replacing Jai Arrow that has a lot of relevance that we'll talk about very soon as well. Keenan Palacia, get rid of him. Mattrix, you warned everybody in the preseason. You said this guy's just not very good, and people were still picking him.
Yeah, and I think I said mid. He's just so mid. Like he is just a guy that is going to average 30 for the rest of his career, and that's okay. People don't need to average 70. You're trying to find a diamond in the rough there at 360k. Keenan's just not it. Get off. Get Terell May. Yeah, just get off him.
Get Oregon Kaufusi. Like if you don't have the money, just buy Oregon Kaufusi. Yeah. I just want to know, in what world can you be a middle forward and put up 22 points in 31 minutes? He put up 11 points in 30 minutes in the trial as well. Like, does my man just not do work? Does he just say, "Oh, Tino, can you just do the work of 2 people for me?"
The warning was there, wasn't it? I think everyone was maybe enticed by the front row, second row duel, thinking, I can get a guy in that's starting at lock that I can put in my front row, but he played, 31 minutes at lock? So
31 minutes, 22 points for a whopping 0.71 ppm. We talk about Tom Flegler having a historically shit ppm for a prop at 1. And Palacia is sitting there with a 0.7. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Yeah, move him on. Bum.
No good. All right. That's buy, hold, sell. So let's move into the games in the team list, shall we? Thursday, 8 p.m. is the first game. We've got the Broncos and the Rabbitohs at Suncorp, boys. One big standout. Obviously, Arrow makes way. We've got a 4-forward bench or a 4-middle bench, and Tallis Duncan is back. What's the initial thoughts, Mattrix, on Tallis Duncan? I mean, the rumor was he was training in the middle or preseason, right? And now he's been named to start on an edge, replacing Jai Arrow.
Can I say I said it in our group chat and you guys rubbished me when I said it?
Yeah. I didn't rubbish you. We just said that we didn't agree.
Dimitri would just be like, I need my Jacob Host fix.
Yeah, like who's going to replace him? Tallis Duncan. Yeah, nah. But,
we did move on pretty quick from that too.
Honestly, I would have put Cam Murray at an edge. Like, I would have thought Cam Murray was going to get named on an edge before I thought Tallis Duncan was getting named. So, I mean, great stuff. And then the positive thing is it's not injury related for Host. It's purely performance. So, another big tick for Tallis Duncan and his sort of job security.
He's got a super coach friendly game too. Like,
gets through a lot of work, does lack some of that evade stat, so that power that we talk about. Like, I think he's only had one offload in his NRL career, but that will come. Like, I think he's fine. Like, he's 314K. You know, there's a lot of chat about Firma. There's a lot of chat about Palacia. Like, if you need a 2RF, like, he's the guy to go to, I think, over KPP.
Yep. Yeah, 26 in base is handy. You know, for the amount of minutes that he played. I'm looking at his minutes now, and the most minutes he played was 39 in a game. Then you've got 18, 19, 26, 34. So,
I'm not expecting 80 minutes.
Not a chance.
If Tallis Duncan got me 58 minutes, 60 minutes, fuck, I'd be over the moon. I think he's probably a little bit naturally fitter than Jai Arrow too, because Arrow's a bigger body. So I think he can probably get through 60 minutes a little bit easier than a Host or an Arrow. So if he got me 60 points and he got me, 60 points, I'd put a hole through my desk with how hard I get. If he gets me 60 minutes for like 48 points, I do a backflip.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely.
How much is he? 300K?
317 or something like that. Like, price of 31. So yeah, I just prefer him over KPP just because we get one more look at KPP with Lucas lurking around. I think this is now Duncan's spot to lose.
Yeah, and you know, obviously the risk comes in, and Jai Arrow comes back, and he's good to go in 4 weeks, and there's no surgery and all that kind of stuff. It does then start to throw up questions. So, like, maybe the play is to wait a week and get more news on Jai Arrow and work out what's really happening there.
I think we'll get the Arrow news before Thursday, which is handy for trades. So I think Arrow's going for scans. It was either today or tomorrow, so we should get news. But even still, I don't expect them to rush Arrow back. Like, no, he's banged up, so I think they might give him a week, 6 weeks minimum. So that's 4 price rises, three price rises. That's plenty.
Well, he did get injured about 6 times, so like he can rest all 6 of those injuries over the next season, and he should be good to go.
Like, if you get charged with like murder, they give you like 50 years. And if you do like 10 murders, you get 500 years. That's with Arrow. So it's 6 weeks for an injury, and then it just compounds. So he's just going to be out for 4 years, and it's just
just rest up, Jai. Take it easy.
I get what you're saying about waiting a week, but I don't have 12 trades next week. That's the only problem.
Yeah,
is it boost season next week?
Yeah. I think it could be
next week. Boost season this week, boys.
Yes, yeah, that's a conversation to have at the end too, because I've seen I reckon the word boost has been used in our chat at least 50 times in the last 24 hours. So there's a bit going on. Now Jacob Gagai, he's been named on the wing, boys, but there is rumours floating around, and they're just rumours at this stage, so we don't know. Obviously, don't take too much from this.
Reckon Milne's on the wing. I don't know why. Like, why? What did Gagai do?
Makes no sense. Makes no sense. He's in the 19 jersey.
Milne
on the
never
extended
done
bench.
right.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess for anyone not reading it between the lines, there's talk that Milne has been training on the wing, and Gagai's been training with the reserve grade. Now reserve grade do have the bye this week, so you know Milne's on the extended. By the sounds of it, don't be surprised to see Gagai drop out of the squad. And then the question becomes, what do you do with Gagai? And I just think a bottom dollar, you just hold him as a center wing 7, and then just wait until something comes up.
Yeah, there's going to be someone you can go sideways to that's basement price and is going to get a few games under their belt mid-season. So I mean, if you're going in, you've got 24 active players, you're going to be making enough cash to hold enough. So if you've got a Viliami for feeder and another plotter in front row forward that hasn't started, and then you've also got Gagai and you've got another player that hasn't started, you're in all sorts of trouble, I think. But for most of us,
the beauty is if you do have money in the bank and you're you're happy to trade him out. They play game one of the round, so you're not going to be waiting until Sunday afternoon to make your trade. So they play game one, so we'll know pretty early. But yeah, shout out to Agent Cheese, who said Tane Milne is the Tessineau of the Rabbitohs, which I agree with wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Last conversation piece, I guess, is for the Broncos, and now obviously with this front row forward issue that we have with Leniu and Arrow both being out, we need replacements. Corey Jensen, could he be a logical replacement? I know the minutes were elevated last week, 56 or 7 minutes I think you got. But, I mean, is there a world, Josh, where we can get 45 to 50 minutes out of him?
I think 50's pushing it. But, fuck, if we got 45 at a 1 ppm, like, we're not getting much value. But at front row forward at the moment, I don't care. Like, just I need some guys to get me through. So I don't mind Corey Jensen. Like, I think people are going to flock to Flegler, and I can understand why. 53 minutes for, I think, 52 base power, which is, nice. But like the bye next week's an issue. Like, do you really want to be trading a guy in who's not a premium, who's not a stud for 1 week? It's a little bit sticky. But then Jensen, it's like you're probably losing 7-8 points on Jensen.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm looking at him. I think I'm either going to go real cheap and just free up cash to boost next week and just go hard next week, or I'm going to probably just go a little bit safer with someone like a Totola, who now potentially could get an extra 4 to 5 minutes with Hoss dropping out of the lineup completely. You reckon I'm close?
There is a world where you just take a hit, play Liam Henry for a week, just bench Spencer Leniu, and just reassess next week. So if you are boosting next week, you can probably get a little bit more funds in the bank, and you can maybe find yourself 300, 400K and just say, fuck it. Like, we're just going to get AFB. We're just going to get Haas. We're going to get Tino. His buy's over. Like, we're just going to get these guys. So I don't hate the idea of just playing Liam Henry for a week and just reassessing.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. And here's Mattrix sitting here going, yep, the cheapy front row forward twos worked out beautifully for me.
Back in vogue, baby.
Yeah, I mean, like, my biggest decision is playing Liam Henry or Sam Hughes this week. That's where I'm at. You're talking about 1 ppm. I tell you what, these guys are just above that. Liam Henry might play 20 minutes. That's great. But can I tell the people that own Xavier Willison that I told them? I got absolutely crucified on Twitter. Like, I hate to be a smug motherfucker, but like, seriously, I told you.
Yeah, all the Broncos fans came out and crucified you as well. Your own people turned on you.
I'm like, I'm on your team. Xavier Willison will not get a run to start.
And you were right. Even in the chat, I was saying if Xavier Willison gets named this week, maybe he can just be that front row forward 3 or 4 that can just sit there and do a job and free up cash. But unfortunately, he hasn't been named. And there's not really any other viable option sub 300K in the front row forwards either. Like, we've got Henry and we've got Hughes, and that's kind of like everyone's front row forward bench at the moment besides Mattrix. So it's
we're
in all sorts.
I'm glad he dropped out. Not
really
what a good day.
Yep.
The Sharks taking on the Bulldogs at PointsBet. We've already discussed Hines, and we'll discuss him more in captains, but unfortunately our boy Royce the Choice has been named to the bench. Now, there was a bit of argy-bargy getting around on social media, pointing the blame at us for directing you guys into Royce Hunt. We put our hands up and said full well, the minute there was 4 forwards on the bench, we were not keen. And Royce played probably the worst game of his life that I think I've ever seen. Been demoted to the bench. Rudolph starts. I'm not giving up on the Sharks cheapy front row forward. We just moved to the next one. We just moved to
Oregon Kaufusi.
Oregon Kaufusi. Yeah, we just moved to him. Played good minutes, a good PPM, good score. If you're on Royce and you got no money, I don't hate just moving on to Hazleton or moving on to Oregon Kaufusi.
Until then, one of them shits the bed, and you just Sharks front row forward hop.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You go to Kaufusi, and then he sucks, and then you go to Hazleton.
Rudolph, he'll bottom out in price. You can jump on him.
Retrades
be good.
a year. Just keep rotating your trades
It's
throughout
like
the
me.
year.
I had Davida Pangai Jr., I had Harrison Edwards, I had Max King. I'm sure if Chris Patolo got a run, I probably would have started with him as well. Like, it's just a Bulldogs forward rotation last year.
Rotating your fullbacks based on matchup. Now we're going to be rotating our front row forwards. Yeah. Not really much else to talk about with the Sharks. They're pretty much 1 to 17 aside from Royce and Rudolph swap. But Connor Tracy.
Yeah, no. Tracy named on a wing. That's the last thing. I would have thought Tracy at fullback, Tracy at center. With Carraz on the wing. Yep. But no, they just opted to keep Carraz at right center and named Tracy on the wing. and I hope this side loses by 50. Because what the fuck are they doing?
I don't know, but Ian Johnson in the chat has suggested, is there
maybe.
a chance they get swapped? And logic says that they should be swapped. But I don't think that.
Logic says you don't pick Blake Taff either, but, you know. What do we do?
Said Serraldo was like the GOAT. Like, as Serraldo's going to really change the Bulldogs around. Is he even a good coach?
But they said this about Barrett. They were like, oh, Barrett, he was the mastermind behind, you know, the premierships at the Penrith Panthers, and then he sucked. And then all the Penrith fans were like, no, it was actually Serraldo. He's the guy. And then now Serraldo sucks. I'm just curious on who the maybe it's just Ivan Cleary. Maybe Ivan Cleary is actually good at his job.
Maybe it's just the fact that they have a good team.
Maybe they have the best 13 in the comp, the best 7, one of the best fullbacks in the comp, you know, one of the best sets of outside backs. Maybe it's just that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speaking of Ivan Cleary, his Panthers take on the Eels at Bluebet Friday night, 8 p.m. Sorensen, he's back, as well as what did they call him on the NRL app? It wasn't Mitch Kenny. Luke called him Luke Kenny. So it's like Luke a combination of Sonny Luke and Mitch Kenny. Can you imagine what that'd look like? That would be. Can you imagine
Sonny Luke getting like 60? Can you imagine Sonny Luke getting Mitch Kenny minutes? Oh, you know, prime camp.
He'd be a must-own.
He'd be gassed after 33 minutes because he's never done anything for 33 minutes in his life.
Yeah. No. Sorensen's way too overpriced though. So you don't.
Of course. But like more importantly, I think like Summerton was the guy. I don't know, because like Peachy just didn't travel and they brought Luke in. So maybe Luke was always the player to come off the bench, and then he played good enough that he's won the bench spot. Like with Mitch Kenny there, I think this is going to be much of what we saw last year. You know, Sonny Luke playing that dynamic 20-minute role, 10 minutes either side of halftime. Kenny making 75 tackles a game and doing not much else. Like, I think that's just what is going to happen. But yeah, I guess wheels up for Henry. You know, you got Garner there that's dropped back to the bench, who's more of a natural edge. And then you're obviously carrying a bench hooker as well. So you're only carrying 2 recognised middles. Leota and Fisher Harris don't play big minutes. They're 40-minute guys each. So is Lindsay Smith. So I think there's going to be minutes to go around. And I'm somehow now talking myself into actually just playing
Liam Henry.
So yeah,
love it.
For the Eels though, not a whole lot.
Nothing going on at the Eels at all, except they've still named 2 hookers.
Nothing going on at the Eels. Nothing going on between Brad Arthur's ears. Not a whole lot going in the suburb of Parramatta as a whole. Just
do you think Moses could pull out? He looked pretty banged up last week.
No, I don't think
he's come out and said he's good to go.
Yeah, he said he made sure he told us about 7 or 8 times that he's fine. I don't think he pulls it out, but I would not be surprised to see them score and he's there, in the team huddle, getting a drink of water with Gutho.
When you've got Gutho there that can competently kick goals, there's no point risking Moses, your main playmaker. So I'd say he takes a couple of weeks off the kicking maybe until that groin eases up. Not really much else to mention in this Panthers-Eels game, except for the fact that I need some redemption on my bets because I'm 0-2 right now. And this Panthers-Eels game is going to be part of my bet, and I need it to go well for my dignity. Saturday, 3 p.m. Raiders.
Are you going to go super safe with your bets this week because
me.
Because you're behind? Like, are you just gonna take $1.36 special or something?
Nah. So I'm going to take $2.36 specials, and it's going to be $1.86. So that's how we do it. Raiders Tigers at GIO in Canberra. Now, there's a bit to talk about here, boys. We've got Lachlan Galvin. He's named to start, but we've also then got Aiden Caesar on the bench, which is an interesting pick, and I'm not quite sure how this is going to play out. We've got Alex Seyfarth. He's been named in the 13, so that was the prediction through the preseason. He's got that first crack at the lock roll, which is great. We've got Fatape as well at centre, which with Justin Olam kind of floating around. I think he's 1 week away, Josh. Am I right?
Yeah, so back next week.
Yeah, so unfortunately, not a good option. Don't go there because it's a bit of a trap. But Lockie Galvin, can we kind of just pat ourselves on the back for a bit? Because we did say to pick him and start with him 204K. Benji loves this kid. He said not only is he the fittest in the squad, but he's just got massive raps on him through the preseason. So I think we're going to see some good things from Galvin this year. It might be a slow burn, even if we do see Caesar swap into the 7 jersey, Sullivan to the 6, Galvin to the 14, which is every chance of happening, I think, pre-game. I mean, a couple of Tigers pages and stuff with people that think that's going to happen, so no source, but bit of word. Even so, I think Galvin in the 14 was probably a much better option than the majority of the options that we had in the preseason at the backup 5'8" role. So anything to add on the Tigers there, Mattrix?
Not really. That's what I was just saying earlier about 5'8" being so, like, probably as bad as hooker this year. And fuck, I'm stoked with him getting named at 6. Even if he comes off the bench, that's a massive win for Insight Fantasy Sports, I'd say.
One of the rare wins we've had.
Rare wins.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yep.
Danny Levi,
Danny
Levi with his quad hamstring, whatever, he's been named, which is nice. I don't expect a massive amount of minutes as like what he played last week. Ricky's the kind of guy, actually, maybe if the Raiders get on top, Ricky's the kind of guy that just likes to keep rolling through. So maybe we do get big minutes. He's not a guy I'm comfortable playing until I see the negatives improve. It's not even the work rate, it's just the negatives.
He'll never play again. He'll never play again for my team. He's done enough. He's done his job. He had to play 1 week.
I can't believe you played him. But yeah, not much else from the Raiders there. They line up as per. Saturday, 5:30, Cowboys Knights at QCB. KPP starts. That's probably the main thing with Dylan Lucas out with his failed HIA and then / broken nose, whatever. Jed Cartwright has been named to the bench. It says edge here, but that's the bench.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah.
And Tom Jenkins places Anari Tuala. Now, we discussed Anari Tuala and Tom Jenkins enough in the injury reports, but let's chat KPP because, 48 points in Strange to outscore Galvin this week. Just a luck of SC Brain. Oh.
Rub it in, Cade. Thanks, mate.
I'll take Strange if anyone wants to gamble.
Yeah, I'd also take Strange. I was actually
toying with playing him this week.
I was toying with playing him this week as well. But yeah, let's get back to the Knights because KPP scored 48 points in 40 minutes last week. Now, amazing. You don't want him playing 40 minutes every week if you're paying mid-threes for him. I think he's the kind of guy that if he plays well, he holds the spot. But I do want to just see it. I'd hate to buy him and then Dylan Lucas just comes back into the squad next week and starts and it's just like, yeah, look, KPP is going to be fine, but you'd much rather him start and get 55, 60 minutes. So I'm not against buying him if you do buy him. I think there's probably some better options this week at the same price point. Alex Seyfarth, Tallis Duncan. But KPP, I think he's a guy that might feature in our buy section next week.
Yeah, I hope he does. And obviously it's great with his price point. You know, he's going to free up 100K for the majority of us if you're going from one of those mid 400 guys. So let's hope he can win that spot and Lucas either comes back on the bench. I mean, there's every chance he probably does. Frizzell's not going anywhere. But great option. Yeah, Cartwright on the bench as well. Just muddies that a little bit because you might steal some edge minutes from him. And that's okay, I think, to start. Because the word was from Jackson Hastings on X that they rate this guy for obvious reasons. And he's got something pretty special about him and Mattrix knows all about that.
Yeah, he's got a helicopter dick.
Boys, let's move on. Last game, Saturday night, 7:30. Storm Warriors will be a cracker at Amy Park. Only real thing here, I guess it's good that Joe Chan's been named. So he retains his spot on the edge, and everyone's probably holding their breath because that was one of those picks in the preseason before the game, and it was like, shit, how long is this going to last? But he's there again. No Munster again. We already spoke about him in the injury section, so we won't double up there. How are we feeling about the Wars? Because is there every chance they can knock off the Storm at home?
We'll get to our best bet segment, but I really hope not. I feel like I'm the only person that rates Joe Chan. I feel like all I've seen all week is just talking about how shit he is. Joe Chan made some really good defensive, a lot of missed tackles, but a lot of like try-saving tackles too. And that happens with young back rowers, especially young back rowers that aren't like aren't familiar with the NRL. Like people forget, like people look at Eli Katoa and think one of the best back rowers in the comp. And rightly so. Eli Katoa sucked when he started. He was a traffic cone in defense. He would miss 10 tackles a game. Like it happens. Like, yes, Joe Chen on the score sheet missed a couple of like bump off tackles. But I think Bellamy just looks at the fact that he saved probably 3 or 4 tries and made some big hits and made some really good reads. Like, yes, Supercoach wise, he will be a slow burn. It's not going to be fun. But I think Joe Chan's a very, very good footy player. And I think Joe Chan will finish the season averaging 50.
Oh, that's a I'm going to say that's a big call.
Not for the season, but I think like
Oh fuck.
okay. Round 23. Oh, that's like round 20.
He scored 20 last week, man. That's a long way up. He needs a 74.
After Origin, I think we see like Joe Chan like really find his feet into this. And can we please clip this up when we see Wacko tweet that there's been a rotation and Sean Bloor comes in and Joe Chan gets dropped to the bench. No, I rate him. But yeah, there was I don't know. Like they started really well. We probably expect them to start well, in front of a home crowd, but it's concerning because I thought the Sharks were dog shit.
Yeah, they were terrible. Yep. Yeah, I don't know.
Were.
I think the Storm knock them off. But I mean, we don't really need to dive too much into that. We're a Supercoach podcast, so let's move on. Actually,
Can I give you something gross?
Go.
Can I give you something gross? I thought Christian Welch looked really good on the weekend. Like off the bench, coming in when everybody was a little bit tired. Like he looked great out there.
450K from 2023, Christian Welch starting front row forward.
Comes back.
This is what I hoped from Christian Welch last year. That's all I'm saying.
But
Nelson's
on the way.
I feel like every year, I think it was Welch 2 years ago. No, it was Welch last year. It was Utoi Kamanu the year before. Who was it this year?
Jai Arrow.
Flegler. Arrow Flegler. Like someone just sucks in the mid range. Let's move on to probably the game of the round, I'd say. Sunday, 4:00 at 4 Pines Park. Doesn't get much better. Gives me 2021 PTSD flashbacks of when Tom Trbojevic would just score 200 points for doing nothing. Seagulls, Roosters at 4 Pines, as I said. Terell comes in to replace Saab. Insert that photo of him and Jess Surgis living out their best, what's that movie? The Unchained Melody scene when they're making the pottery. Insert that one. Josh Schuster returns via reserve grade. Shock horror. Ben Trbojevic holds the spot. Like another win for Insight. We were very confident that he's first choice, and I would say barring a stinker or injury, it's Burbo's spot to lose. Dom Young replaces Pulgar, and Satili Tupanua and CSO Wong both start, which is great. And the bench rotation is as per. The only change is Jadaria Hargraves comes in for Spencer Leniu, and our boy Terell May named in number 17.
And I guess like that, it makes you feel a bit better about Terell May knowing that it's kind of just a straight swap JWH for Leniu. Like there's no real other changes to what looks like a pretty solid rotation, aside from the fact that we still don't necessarily know what the edge rotation looks like at the Roosters because of the injuries. So it's going to be interesting, but I'm still confident Terell May's a slam dunk pick at the price. So let's go to Sunday, 6 p.m.
I think it's really like, we talk about bad luck with, some of our front row forward choices, Leniu getting suspended, Arrow getting injured. I think it's the best case scenario for Terell May. People are like, well, JWH is out week 1. Of course, Terell May is going to cook. And then what happens when he comes back? Well, Spencer Leniu gets suspended for 8 weeks and then nothing changes. So really, really good fortune for the Terell May people that, had the balls to start with him. So unfortunate for you guys that we're all jumping on, but you got the 1 week of points.
It feels like Jermaine Hopgood from 2023 all over again, where like every single time he's about to get benched, there's an injury and he's back in the starting lineup. Hopefully we see plenty of that from Terell May.
Nico Hines, 2021.
Yep.
Pappenhausen out for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, Munster's out for 3 weeks. That 3 weeks rolls up. Pappenhausen's out for 8 weeks. And then just Nico just wins the spot.
Yep. Last game of the round, Sunday. I fucking hate daylight saving, man. Sunday, 6 p.m. game. Like, Dolphins Dragons at KO. There's a bit going on here at the Dolphins, Mattrix. Do you want to go through all the ins and outs? Because it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, well, Averillo replaces New. I didn't think it happened so soon, but great call from Uncle Wayne. Thanks, buddy. Katoa replaces Sean O'Sullivan. Aiken replaces Lemuelu. And Max Plath in the 13. My draft savior.
I mean, what do we expect from Max Plath? Because what's he scored in
the weekends? He's got like 40 on the weekends.
Yeah. Honestly, like eyeball wise, like he passed the eye test for me. It just like how many minutes or how many games, is he going to get at lock?
I think he gets just one. I think it's one game. But if he's playing 40 minutes off the bench, if he's playing 42 minutes off the bench every week, like I'll take that. Like I'm not going to rush him away because I've got Galvin and he's only 5'8" only. But if he gets like 2 RF dual, then I think he like his price will be gone by the time then. But if you have him, like if you started with him, and then he gets 2 RF dual, like he's going to be great to have in your team for 6, 7, 8 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And look, it's just hard because he's only 5'8", he doesn't have the dual. But hopefully he gets that dual at round. If he can, he's probably not going to get it, is he? He's not going to get dual position.
He's not a buy-in classic. He's not a buy-in classic.
I'm saying if you started with him though, like if you took the punt at him at 260k at 5'8", like thinking he'll play like utility minutes, like it's great because if he does get dual, he's a hold until like probably like round 8, round 9.
Yep.
Yeah. He's got to start at lock for 3 games though, doesn't he, to get dual? And
I don't know.
They do dual updates at round 6?
Yeah, dual updates at round 6, but it was weird. Like sometimes they wouldn't do it through injury. I know that like, I think Cotter didn't get 2 RF dual when he was playing 13 because of injury, or like that's the way that Sangster explained it. But I don't know. Like,
right.
Don't ask me to explain how they think.
Fair. Dragons are interesting. We've got RFM and Leilua on the bench. Obviously, Leilua comes in. Viliami Fafita drops out. Tom Eisenhuth still named to start, but there's every chance he could drop to the bench if one of RFM or Leilua start. And I've seen a few people buying Tom Eisenhuth, and that is probably the biggest trap of the week this week. So I'd definitely be staying away from him. But RFM is also very well purchased, Matty. What are your thoughts on him? Because like surely you have to have another look with everything going on at the Dragons.
Yeah, there's no price rise this week. He did score really well. We said on Sunday that let's just wait to see how it pans out this week. I think Leilua's the best player out of these guys. So I think he's better than RFM, and he's also the most expensive.
I think both of them at their best. Yes, Leilua clears, but I don't think we've seen Leilua at his best for about 3 years. Just quietly, like Tigers days.
Yeah, he's had a big going on.
No, I get that, but I don't. This is what I don't get. Like what more did Raymond have to do to win this? Because he played unreal. The Dragons won. The Dragons thumped them. They went down RFM side all night because they were attacking they were attacking Weaver. But like, you give someone a chance, they hit it out of the park, and you're like, cool, we're just gonna put Tom Eisenhuth back there. And Tom Eisenhuth's cool.
Tom Eisenhuth was alright.
Yeah, but he's cool in the middle. He's not really an edge guy that like you're sitting there. Like if you're a halfback and you're doing film, you're not sitting there going, oh man, I hate to see these Tom Eisenhuth lines. Maybe Tom Eisenhuth's been watching some Britton Nakora highlights and he just picks up a good line running ability, but like
maybe
don't see it.
Callum Ponga highlights with you looking at his lines, but
imagine last year we're talking about Nico Hines, Britton Nakora combo. This year we're talking about Kyle Flanagan.
Kyle Flanagan and Tom Eisenhuth.
What a stack.
You all need in drafts.
Love that. Zach Lomax, boys. He is very well but highly bought this week. 640 odd K. Like, are we looking at round 1 a little bit too deeply? Is there a bit too much going on? Do we have to wait, or should we wait a week to buy Zach Lomax, especially at the price?
He was in my team at one stage. So am I allowed to claim him?
Yeah, we led you astray. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I got influenced. Damn podcasts. I should have just stuck to my gut. Why did I?
I think you've got to wait.
In the
he passed the eye test. Got involved. Like the beauty of going back to wing is you get the kick returns, you get the non-staggered defensive lines. So like I can't sit here and say don't buy him. It's not something that I would do. But if you said to me, I'm going to buy Lomax, I had 200K in the bank, I'm going to get Lomax, like I can't sit here and be like, no, he's a shit pick. He's a gun goal kicker. Yes, look, in a perfect world, I'd love to see the Dragons do this for more than one game against Tanner Boyd and Tom Weaver. Like, no disrespect. And Keeney. Like, no disrespect. But like
there is disrespect.
I just want to see some more before I take a 600K plunge.
Yeah. I think it's definitely
honestly, I said, like, I just want to wait and see him score well against a good team. And we're not going to see that to start the season. Like, they're playing the Dolphins. They were dog shit too. Like, I just want to offend everybody else in Queensland today. So, yeah, look, like, Titans were awful. Like, they were the worst team in the comp last week. And then you've got the Dolphins this week, which was a close second. Like, I think you could fall into some trap with some of these St. George players. Let's just wait and see. Honestly, I just want to see him play the Raiders and Lomax go well. Like, the the Knights and Lomax go well. Like just a mid team, because the first two teams that they're playing, awful.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a watch on the Dragons for sure. All right, should we move on to captains?
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, Captain!
Pretty simple this week, I would have thought. We've got Nico versus the Bulldogs at PointsBet. Mentioned earlier in the show, averages 101 at PointsBet in 18 matches. Or we've got Cleary versus the Eels. You can't use both. You can't VC, then see one or the other. You've got to pick one. Basically, they're in the same position. Cleary's playing at Bluebet, which is great, but he when I say only averages 79. And that's definitely nowhere near the best stadium or the best location for him. How do we feel about these two? Is it straight C on Nico and just save yourself the pain, or do you hold Spencer Leniu and have the loop option?
It's not a bad week to be. It's not a bad week to be a Hines and Latrell owner. Just quietly, like, I'd love to have Latrell for that Thursday loop, but for me, like, I haven't looked at it too hard yet. But you've got a real straight captaincy conundrum here, and like, I wouldn't hate the idea.
What are your thoughts, Mattrix?
Sorry, Hines.
I am gonna do it. I think it's just going to be straight C, Nico. I think that maybe some people will get scared off by the 26, and we'll see some, I suppose, captainers of, some Val Holmes and maybe even a Greg Marju and Kalen Ponga later on in the round, which I do like, and even a Tom Trebojevic. But I don't think that's the best matchup at the moment. So, yeah, I'm just going to straight C Nico, close my eyes, and just pray and hope.
I think straight C Nico for me.
If we were to VC, what are we taking?
Oh, look. We've got
65.
We've got players on. Yeah. If they crack 50, I'm on. I don't think I'm going to risk it. I don't think it's worth the pain. I think I'm just going to straight C and hope for the best. There's logic there. We've got two non-players. A lot of people had Leniu, a lot of people had Arrow. So there's logic there. You could bring Terell May in for Arrow, and you could leave Leniu on the bench if you don't have a Titans player, and use them as a loop and have an early look at Nico. If you are worried or concerned about Nico, you can just kind of use Leniu as your loop option. So there is that play.
If you know footy, you've already got Billy Army for feeder. So.
Oh dear. Okay. That brings us to the end of captains, and that's a good way to wrap it up. Thanks, Mattrix. We had a lot of requests for the Insight games, the guess the player, the trivia.
I thought they were.
I thought it was a train wreck, so I'm glad people.
It was a train wreck, absolutely. We've decided with these games now, we're going to be putting a 60-second timer on to make sure that it doesn't just go for
Can
fucking
we,
5
especially
minutes.
guess the player? Can we guess a player, and if we're wrong, can we keep going?
Yeah.
Or like once you guess a player, is that it? You're done.
Yeah, that's probably a good. Maybe what we do is we get you get 2 guesses at the player.
Okay.
So once you've had 2 guesses at a player, you're done. You're dusted.
Sweet.
So let's move on to guess who.
Guess who?
Matty,
We need to clarify quickly. Are we working together or are we not?
let's work together on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to work together. You're playing the house.
All right.
Yeah.
Screw the
Yeah,
house.
we are.
Sweet.
Mattrix, you're up. You've got the player. We've got a guess. So we'll click that timer on.
Go,
You can start, Josh.
Over 10% owned.
No, I presume.
Oh, this is going to be tough then. Sydney team?
No.
Queensland team.
No.
Oh, okay. Are they Newcastle Knights?
No.
Have they won a grand final in the last 10 years?
Oh.
Hang on. Does the timer stop on that?
There's 2 teams left here. Okay. All right, sweet. So it's Melbourne.
Just wait.
Yep.
Give me a sec. No. They have. Oh.
This is a
Oh, sorry. It's not here. No, they haven't won in the last 10
Okay,
years.
so it's 2 teams. It's one of 2 teams.
What? So they're Melbourne Storm player?
No, it's the Raiders or the Warriors. Not a
okay.
Queensland team. Not the
Oh,
Knights.
under 10% owned. No, he's
Under
just
10%
gone
owned.
because he's panicking now because it's not one of those teams.
It's not one of those teams that Mattrix.
No.
It has to be. If it's not
Yeah, well, the way that we've answered these
team,
questions.
if it's not a Queensland team, if it's not the Storm, and it's not Newcastle, it has to be the Raiders or the Warriors.
Sorry, I don't go to Sydney too much. Is St George in Sydney?
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, I thought it was just
All right, okay,
out.
so
Yeah.
the Dragons. It's a Dragons. Is it a
Yeah,
forward?
cool. No,
It's a back. Winger?
no.
halfback or halves.
Yeah.
Okay, I know who it is.
Is it Ben Hunt?
Yes.
That's
Okay.
not what I thought it was.
Fuck, we got there.
That was
It was about a minute and a half. We got there a bit quicker,
We'll
but
give you that. That's a
Because
bit better.
dickhead didn't know where St George was.
Fuck.
I know.
I thought it was out of Sydney. I've never been to St. George.
No, we said New South Wales, and you were like, no.
No, I said
You said
Sydney,
Sydney.
but
Oh, Sydney. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I
It's
thought it
just-
was like rural. New
No,
South
because
Wales.
because you're like, is it a Sydney team? No. Is it the Knights? No. Is it a Queensland team? No. Okay, so it's Melbourne, it's the Raiders or the Warriors. They haven't won a grand final in the last 10 years.
Surely
so
St.
it's the
George is
Raiders or
out
the
of Sydney.
Warriors.
people
my
in the chat saying get him a map. Everyone's just guessing Luke Metcalf straight off the bat as well, which is great. You're pretty fucking spot on, I reckon.
Sean Kecky, Luke
The
Metcalf.
distance, sorry, Google. The distance between Sydney and St. George is 695 kilometres.
Yeah. You know, they
Sydney
take, a
and St.
private
George.
jet from, they take a private jet from Cogra to Campbelltown.
Yeah, not Campbelltown. They've got two home grounds as well, one in Cogra, one in Wollongong. So I guess you can argue.
Trivia should be a little bit less hectic.
All right, trivia. So Supercoach trivia is centered around a stat, I guess. This one might be a little bit tricky. So who had, out of players that played more than 20 games last season, so essentially a full season, who had the lowest PPM last year? The lowest points per minute.
Keenan
Bonus
Palacio.
points if you guess it.
Lowest PPM. So like people are gonna like go to AJ, but AJ averaged like 70, so it's not AJ.
Mm-hmm. Think of
Are they a center wing?
yes.
Okay. Are they a Sydney team?
Yes.
Oh god, okay.
Are they
George.
north of the harbour?
No.
No, is it St George?
Yeah.
Okay, right, yeah.
Fuck off.
Center wing from St George. That's not Sully. It's
700
not
Ks away.
Lomax. Oh, is it Max Viego?
No.
Is it Matt
Is it
Matt
Matt
Viego?
Viego?
Yeah, Matt Fier. Yeah. 0.39 ppm, 23 games, 712 points in 1,840 minutes. Worst
So
ppm by a
huge.
player that played a full season.
Why didn't
Yeah.
he get named this week?
Gee, I wonder why.
Shout out to Cade Burgess who got that before we did. Also,
Didn't he?
shout
Oh,
out to
nice, Kate. Good job.
Joshua
Shout
DeStefano
out
just
to
said
Cade.
tough watch. I don't blame
That
you,
was
Josh.
100%.
Sorry, the host has no idea about geography. That was a car wreck. Let's move
No,
on to
we're
something
good.
that everyone else can relate to. The Punters Club. Now, let's recap because week 1 we got one correct tip right from yours truly. Week 2 we got 2 correct tips right from yours truly and Mr.
Sorry, I just
Magic
got to go for a sec.
And
I
SC
win 2
Brain-
over there.
SC Brain flopped us in the first leg. We were dead in the first leg. Absolute pelican. But this week we've gone slightly lower odds. We got to try and get some money happening in the kitty because we're struggling, boys. So we're going to take a 4-leg multi, and Braino's decided to pick 2 legs. He can't even get one right. He decided to pick 2 at $6.38. Braino has gone with the Sharks at $1.32 into the Panthers. Don't get too adventurous, mate. Picking the 2 hot pots of the week. Just get some
Have
runs
you-
on the board.
Mate,
You'll
that's
find
what
a
I'm looking
way.
for. I'm just looking for a dub. I've got to get off to 0.
Oh, mate, I can't wait until the Eels, just like Mitch Moses with a fucked groin, just hits a field goal to stick this multi.
It'll lose by 1-2 in overtime or golden
Yeah,
point or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
guaranteed.
The Sharks head to head, Panthers head to head. I've taken an alternate line. I've taken Melbourne -5.5. I just want that the 6-point hook. And Mattrix has taken the Dragons head to head. So all 4 of those combined $6.38. We are currently down $20 on the season. So we're gonna try and redeem it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Two-
That's on
2
me.
units. We want to look like mad punters.
Yeah,
Down two-
$1,000
yeah,
units, aren't we?
Down 2 units. Yeah. Don't tell them $20. Just say 2 units. Oh, bless.
All right, let's move into the questions. We've got a few.
It's question time. Let's answer your questions for the week ahead.
Now, guys, before we do answer the question, Insight Unlimited brings you question time. Now, it's not too late to sign up for Insight Unlimited. You get exclusive access to all of us, our teams, our trades, our captains. Everything, every single move that we make is publicized in the Discord to our Insight Unlimited members. So you get access to all of that. We do an exclusive Q&A podcast episode every single week as well for our Insight Unlimited members. So that's every round. You can ask whatever questions you want. So obviously very different to the live ones here. It's a separate recording. And obviously all the late mail, all the injury news and everything else comes through the Discord too, and you get access to that. And this isn't just NRL, it's AFL, BBL, NBL. And if you're an NBA fantasy guy as well, that covers you $25 for the whole year. So not just the season, you get the full 365 days. So you can jump in the Discord, all the info is in there, or just hop in one of our DMs and we'll point you in the right direction. So let's start working through these questions, shall we? We've got Fisher asking us, should I tear my team apart to join the Cardi party for the vibes?
For the vibes, yes, but for logics, probably not.
How about NRL fantasy, mind you, letting people still buy Cardi after the game finished? That's all-time fuckery.
Thankfully, they rectified it, but yeah, very, very dodgy stuff in NRL fantasy.
Thankfully. Did they throw Helam Lukey out of your side as well after you tried to do that dodgy trade?
Nah.
Love that.
Nah, they just let him go back, him and Zach Labour.
The boys.
Nice.
The boys.
Choke artist. I've always thought the Tigers were useless, but you blokes actually have given us some cheapies. And hey, we've got to be good. We've got to be good for something. You always get the best cheapies from Dragons, Tigers, Titans. Yeah, there's a few. Ian Johnson's got some feedback. He wouldn't mind us putting our score for the week next to our rank. So, I mean, if people want that, we can do that.
Just confirm, do you want total score or do you want round score? Because we don't have room for both of them. But we can give you total score, round score, Ian. So let us know what you'd prefer. And yeah, we're open to feedback.
881, better than these spuds.
I can't wait for me and Josh to just shoot up the rankings this week. And
give me
Luke
a horse.
Metcalf shits the bed. Lyle's asking, would you sell Fermor to KPP and bank some nice cash, or would you wait a week or two, Josh? This one's you because you're a Fermor owner.
I'd rather sell to Talis Duncan. Don't want to give away my trades because people will pay for that sort of highly touted information. But I'd rather sell Fermor to Talis Duncan just because we know the security a little bit more. KPP, I think, is the better Supercoach prospect, and KPP will probably feature in your teams next week, but you just want to cover all your bases, make sure that he does hold that spot over Lucas. You'd hate to trade him in and see him back to the bench.
Yep. Yeah, and it would be a slow burn. Like, going back to the bench isn't a death sentence for him. Like, eventually he's going to win that spot. It's just early on you want to maximize the amount of trades that you're using for the right moves and not kind of wasting a trade on a guy that's going to plod on the bench for a little bit. So Vera Wine wants less basketball and more beers, Mattrix. That was at the start when we said that you're at basketball. So take on that information, please.
Thanks, Vera.
We've got Disco Turtle in the chat here asking Terell May or Flegler. I think that's a straight up Terell May answer from all of us.
Yep. Lose my number. Like, he scored 60 with it. Right. Like, seriously. Like, yeah, let's just get May in. Like, I've watched Flegs for a lot of years and he's a really good football player, but in all reality, he's never been a good Supercoach player, and I can't remember the last time I saw him score a try. So that was great for owners.
Can I also add on this as well? We haven't talked about this yet, but Flegler's buy schedule through the middle of the year is fucking awful as someone who might play Origin.
Yeah, so Origin too.
I mean, he'll miss 13, 16, and 19 through Origin naturally, and the Dolphins have a 14 and 18 bye. So he's going to play 2 games in 7 rounds through the middle of the year. So if he's somebody that you're planning on holding until the back end of the season, he's definitely not the pick. You're going to get fuck all from him. And obviously they've got the buy in round 3 as well, which definitely isn't fantastic either.
And that's the worst thing in the world. Like, not good enough to be 500k, but also too good to make makes Origin. Like, like makes Origin. Like, be a 400k guy that makes Origin. That's the worst.
Yeah. No, I could tell
few KPP questions, we've answered that, which is good. We've got Regan. He's got a conspiracy about Taumalolo that Peyton is hoping to piss him off with the lack of game time, so he requests a move and it frees up some cash in their salary cap. So
is that a conspiracy? Because I
think it's pretty common knowledge.
Yeah, I believe that. Like, if Todd Payton came out and said, like, 10 years later in his autobiography, oh yeah, I just want to get rid of him, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I believe that.
Yep. 100%.
Mattrix,
Snicko.
you weren't
Go.
on Sunday, but I said to Mattrix, could you imagine him with the Bulldogs, like from a Supercoach standpoint?
Mm.
Like 60 minutes and just like 1 ppm, 60 points a game. Love that.
No, he'd probably come off the bench and share minutes with Josh Curran.
Go, man.
Snicko wants to hold or trade Royce the choice. He's one of these poor blokes that
Sorry,
probably
Snicko.
can blame us. Yeah,
Yeah,
apologies.
Liam Henry.
Just anyone else.
Yeah, Royce is done. I think is a
Stefano
viable
Gordon.
option.
I like
get
the
him.
Oregon. You guys did mention Oregon. I do like that maybe as a sideways trade, but I think I'd just rather save the money at front row forward and like get a Henry or a Hughes or someone like that you don't have.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, the Oregon Kaufusi could get you a, 50 or a 45 or something like that. Liam Henry's going to get you a 35 and you're going to save 100K, 150K. So use that cash, I think, in an important week next week as well to make sure that you're using your trades. People are going to be boosting, so it might be the play. Stefanos Viliami Fafita to KPP. So that's an interesting one. Would you keep him there as enough or would you spend the 150K to go up to KPP?
It depends. Like that's more of a team makeup question. Like who's your 17th man? Like if you're having to play like I don't know, Galvin or a Strange, then yeah, I'd probably do it. I'd probably do it to Talis Duncan, as we've said a couple of times. But if you don't need to do it, absolutely wait till next week because Viliami Fafita to KPP could be an amazing move next week if KPP holds the start. Like I want on the record that I think KPP is a better Supercoach prospect than Talis Duncan. Early stages of the season, I've been burned a couple of times already. Like I just want some stability. And until we know what's happening with KPP, then I'd rather just hang 10.
Yeah. A bit of a funny question. Who's better looking, Smithies or McGuinness? I mean, I'm backing in Smithies personally, but it's not going to get you any extra Supercoach points, unfortunately.
I think Smithies is a good looking dude. Like genuinely, I think he's got like he's a good looking dude.
Yep. I'm with it. All right, here's an interesting one. Heaps Sus is asking, boys, would downgrading Harry Grant to free up cash for Kalen Ponga be worth it? A lot of people are jumping off Ponga. Heaps Sus wants to jump on Ponga.
I'm surprised someone's jumping on. Like, I think it's a good move, but like, I didn't expect to see it.
50.
What do you reckon,
50 is great for a fullback or a halfback this week. Like that's like I might have looped at 64 if I knew Cleary and Nico were going to get that. But yeah. Look, in all reality, I like.
Yeah, I guess let's answer the question. The thing with Grant is like the round 4 bye and who you're got covering because like I'm dreading having to play fucking Danny Levi. So like that's the thing. Like if you're going to a Grant to a Robson or a Grant to a Robson because there's no one else without a bye, then maybe because weigh up the points, like weigh up 11 weeks of Harry Grant and 1 week of Danny Levi versus 12 weeks of Reece Robson. And then weigh that up comparing to...
Hey, Josh, Danny Levi scored a try when I played him.
So are you going to... So hopefully you can play him this week for us and keep that good voodoo happening.
Not a chance, never again.
He's got Appy now, so he's all good.
Yeah, he's an Appy man. Free up cash for Ponga for who, though? Like Pappenhausen. I assume it's Pappenhausen. And in that case, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just keep Pap.
I think so as well. But also, we need to remember that the Storm played the Panthers last week. They were never going to score well.
Yeah.
So, like, we're looking at Harry Grant's 50. I'm okay with that because I expected him to get 50 in round 1. I didn't expect him to go and score 90 against the Panthers. So, I think we need to be patient with Harry Grant. If you started with Harry Grant, you started with him because he's the best hooker. He's the best option in a shit position. And I think you just need to wait it out until the bye at least and then reassess. Or maybe a amazing 80-minute Parramatta Eels hooker is going to appear at basement price. Joey Lussick's going to get injured. Brendan Hands is going to get the gig for 80 minutes, and he's going to be basement price because he's going to get like 3-4 rounds of 10 off the bench, and we'll have a problem solved, and we won't need to worry about playing Danny Levi in the Storm bye. So I'm just bringing it together.
Can we please get Cade Burgess's question up on the screen because my man knows ball. He listened to the preseason strategy.
Yep, there it is. Blake Brayley at hooker for Grant. And I mean, look, we were talking about Blake Brayley being one of the only 80-minute hookers left in the game. And he played 80? Did he play 80 last week?
Yeah, he still played 80. I don't know.
Bit of a risk, though.
Probably scored 50. Probably didn't do much else.
I mean, what happened to the Cam McInnes is going to play fucking hooker minutes? Where did that go?
I don't know. Like Cam McInnes played 40 minutes. Cam McInnes played 40. I put this on X. Like, did Todd Payton and Craig Fitzgibbon go to the same school of just dog shit rotations? Because like Cam McInnes played 40 minutes. He made like 51 tackles. He had like 60 post contact meters, like 1 missed tackle, like 2 tackle busts in like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I traded
Hooker
McInnes
sucks.
out in fantasy this week. Fun fact.
Why?
That's
Because
I'm not making any trades. In
need
fantasy.
I need to free up some money.
I'm ranked better in fantasy than I am Supercoach. So next week,
Me too. I'm like 8,000th.
This might be a fantasy podcast next week, boys.
No, it's a Dream Team podcast. I'm coming 70th, baby. This is going to be a Dream Team next week.
After my weekend, it'll be a Draft Stars podcast. No, but yeah, I don't know. But Blake Bradley's cool. But if you've committed to Grant, like Blake Bradley was cool before lockout. Like if you committed to Grant in round 1, I think you just grit your teeth and stick through it.
Wasting a trade now, going down. I think I know that people want cash.
What happened? Because he played like 73 minutes straight, came off for about 2 minutes, and then just went back on and played the final 5. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Matty Granger is asking if Jermaine Asako is ever going to touch the ball again. The answer is no. He's got Herbie inside him. We said it all preseason. So for anybody who went Jermaine Asako, you deserve everything you get. If Appy
comes on his couch, still waiting for the ball to come to him.
Yeah, they don't pass to him at training either, apparently. He has to go and get his own balls to practice his conversions. If Appy comes out this week kicking goals and the Tigers look decent for a few tries a game, are we going Little to Appy for those that started with Jacob Little?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I think that Aiden Caesar on the bench tells me that he's not goal kicking.
I mean, Aiden Caesar could be touch and go as well. He might not even play. So there's your green light. But I can't see Appy losing the kicking. Can you, Josh? Like, surely it's just ducks and drakes.
A lot to happen here. The Tigers look decent. That's probably the biggest thing in this whole conundrum.
Score a few tries a game. Also questionable. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think our draw is okay from memory. If he does, then like I could be going Grant to Appy. Like, I'm not against Grant to Appy in round 5. Round 4 if Grant sucks and Appy is looking okay. I don't hate that. But maybe give it sort of a 2-week sample. Like that's the beauty with the Tigers is we can wait. And Little's good enough. Like Little has had a good enough score that no matter what he does for the next 2 weeks, he'll get a price rise. So you can just wait till round 4 to make that trade.
Yep. This one's an interesting one because I won't lie, I've looked at him. Tui Kamikamika as a front row forward trade in for the obviously issues that we have. I mean, he scored 50 in 51 minutes with 50 base. You know what you're going to get with him. It's just meat and potatoes, I think. But there's worse options. He's priced at what, 440? So what do you guys think? Yeah. I mean, you got Flegler 475. You got him at 443. You've got, I mean, May's a lock at 430. It's this price range where you're just going to get these real kind of base stat beast guys that aren't going to really light it up attackingly. But I don't know. Are there any other options at that price?
Safe.
So Tui had a big minutes jump. I mean, average 44 for the last 2 years, then went up to 51. You got Nelson to come back as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the 50-minute roll's there, and the PPM was also down as well. And I just think I'd rather May, and I'd rather Flegler. Sure. And I would rather Flegler. And I hate saying that because I don't love him, but I would just rather Flegler for 30k more because we know he's locked in for 50, 55 minutes. And yeah, like
they're the same PPM.
They both have the same goal.
They're the same PPM, but he probably gets more minutes. Flegler does, right, Josh?
Yeah, I think so. And Flegler's got better minute security, but it's just the buy. But in saying that, Melbourne's got a buy in round 4, so it levels out very quickly.
Cheese is on the straight captain with Nico. Wayne is saying Appy is straight captain, which is, I mean, you've got way more faith in my team than I do. Ian Johnson, and this is a question that has popped up a little bit. What happens if Curran keeps coming off the bench into the prop rotation? Is he going to get front row forward dual? It's, you know as much as us. They're super inconsistent with bench players and duels, but I'm going to assume that they're going to be forced into it.
Because the problem with it is like lock and prop for a lot of these shit teams. Like a lot of these teams that aren't the Penrith Panthers or the Sydney Roosters that have a designated lock that we know what their role is. like Josh Curran comes on and Supercoach can make the ruling of like, oh, he's just playing lock, and we're going to keep him at 2RF. So look, I wouldn't be going out of my way to buy Josh Curran expecting him to get dual. I think if you have him already and he gets dual, amazing. But I wouldn't be like putting my chips in the middle and saying I'm all in on Josh Curran just to be heartbroken in round 6 when you inevitably get the news that he hasn't gotten dual. Because I was heartbroken for Cotter last year when he didn't get front row forward dual or 2RF dual. He didn't get one of them because they deemed
dual,
he deemed that they only played there because of injury. So the ruling is weird.
Yep. The next one from
front row forward dual. Like
everyone will.
I don't own him. Front row forward dual. Josh Curran, the best thing in the world. And Terell May.
I own him at the moment. He's sitting in my 2RF because I'm praying that he gets that dual so I can just shift him up and bring in one of the 2RFs that's going well at round 6. Cade wants to know, how does the minutes go for the Dragons bench? So we've got Mulheisen, obviously there. He's going to play utility.
Head down to the reject shop, buy one of those black balls that you shake up and you ask a question, and then that's the answer I'm going to give you, because who fucking knows? Because
Ray Fatala Mariner is going to play 30 minutes, it says.
Will Raymond Fatala Mariner be an option?
No.
It's desire or some like very vague answer. Like it's
very desirable.
Desirable, yeah. No, look, if Blake Laurie's still out, I expect very much what happened last week. Jack Devella moving into prop, Raymond playing off the bench, Raymond playing off an edge, and Luciano coming off the bench. Like I just don't think Luciano's ahead in the pecking order right now, considering just the delayed preseason and a new signing. I think he'll start there by the end of the year. Like I think their best side looks like an edge of Sua, Luciano, and JDB, and probably a front row forward rotation of Molo and Laurie, with like Sele off the bench. Raymond can play through the middle a little bit, but like for now, there's just too many unknowns to take the punt on Raymond. I assume that's why we're asking, or even Eisenhuth for that matter. I'd much rather just play it safe with Tallis Duncan, or get a little bit frisky with Kai before jumping on Ray or
for sure,
Eisenhuth.
And also, like Blake Laurie's, he's a kind of what we'd consider a big minute prop. Like he played 52 minutes last year per game. So like, I mean, there's only so more minutes.
There's no stranger to big minutes either.
Yep. So there's only so many minutes to go around in that middle rotation. Like, it's way too many questions.
Locked in for 80 as well. We've seen he's going to play 65-ish. So you then start crunching numbers and you're like, oh shit, there's only 100 minutes to go around between 4 people.
5 players, yeah. No go. All right, we got Josh wants to know, he's got Lenu and Arrow and 230k in the bank. What do we think? He'd love to get KPP, but have no front row forwards with dual and no 2RFs that I want to trade. And this is kind of the situation with me at the moment. I've got about 130k. I've got no duals, so I can't swing things around. In the 2RF, I have no 2RFs I want to trade out. So with Lenu and Arrow, if we were to ask you the 2 best options to replace these 2 guys, who would it be, Josh?
So for
May and who?
So it's May, and it's probably Flegler, but you need some cover next week. If you have the money, I'm still keen on Cotter. I think Cotter will get more production. There was a game that was very open, and they were just attacking the edges all day long with Labart and Nanai and Lukey and Talangi and Val. If you can stretch the Cotter, get Cotter. If you can't, I'd go Flegler, but just be content with playing Henry next week.
Yep. Matty, anything to add?
With playing Henry this week, save the money. Spend up in get a Cam Murray, or like get a Hammer, or get a honestly, if it's the difference between a Cotter and a Liam Henry, and the difference between a centre wing and Valentine Holmes or somebody like that, I think I'd rather spend the money there. Like, I think I'd rather spend the money in the second row or the wing centre. Yeah,
I would agree in round 17, 18. I just think in round 2 you want depth, because like, who knows? Maybe your other front row forward's a complete racist and gets suspended for 8 weeks. Who knows? Like, we can't plan. I'd rather have more depth, and yeah, I'd love to just run Liam Henry and Sam Hughes as my front row forward 1 and 2. Like, mate, I'd fucking. Who wouldn't love that? I'd get Hamole Kawatsu. I'd have, Lomax. I'd have Marzu. But something happens. Like, front row forward is the most volatile position. It's the position that takes the most knocks to your body. It's a position that has probably the highest injury rate in terms of Supercoach. I know it sucks to spend 500k or 540k on Cotter for him to pump out mid 50s, but maybe that's all you need. Maybe that you just need some kind of stability. In saying that, though, can we just get the question back up on the screen? I don't hate the idea of Arrow to May. Just put Lenu on ice for a week, play Henry as Mattrix suggested, and just assess. Because if you are going to go trade heavy next week, you're going to boost next week, and you're going to do a couple of downgrades, all of a sudden you might have 300k, and that's enough to go. Oh, sorry, you might have 350k, and that's enough to go Lenu to AFB. Like that could be an option.
Yep. Yeah, I don't mind that. Not a bad shout. We've got another one from Cade. Ewan Aitken obviously named on an edge. Lemuelu, I think, has been said to be out for 4 weeks? Am I right in saying that? MCL sprain, I think grade 2 MCL.
Dislocated kneecap, MCL sprain type looking thing.
Yep.
No, more so in fantasy, but not in Supercoach. Just with the bye next week, and he's only going to get 3 weeks then of production.
Yep. Mr. Callio is asking our top 5 captains this week, like last week. So I've got Nico Hines, and then maybe Nathan Cleary, and then Nico Hines. I honestly don't feel comfortable taking anyone but him.
Diplomatic answer: 1 Hines, 2 Cleary, still 3 Val against the Knights. Maybe who's the right center? Gagai? Maybe not Val.
Yeah.
Or far out. Then it's Dyer. Like Turbo.
Yeah,
I can be boring and sit here and say, oh, Turbo's pretty good. Oh, Pappenhausen's pretty good. Like obviously,
it'd be so ballsy to do Hammer against the Dragons or Lomax,
especially we're talking last year, sure, but Dragons were okay last week. So you just don't know. They might turn up again. Have you seen, Josh shared the photo or the video in the chat of them doing Viliami Fafita's debut where he has to drive the car up to his own car spot or something? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
they've got a good culture going on there.
And then he got dropped. They just wanted him to get a good car park. They ran out of car parks in the trainers area. So they had to make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, and they just wanted clicks on socials. They wanted to get that out after round 1, so they just picked a boat.
I watched it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, look, captain's tough. I think maybe we might have a bit more info, but at the moment I think it's just Nico as a VC potentially if you don't feel comfortable captaining him, and then you can pick maybe a Turbo against the Roosters or something as a safer captain option. I think Turbo isn't really going to let you down if he gets through a full game.
The Roosters were really good defensively. That's all I keep thinking. I know
they've got
Reece
Luke
Welsh
Brooks now.
got his. Yeah, exactly.
So
I would rather captain Teddy than Turbo, to be honest.
Really?
I know you
That's
probably don't own Teddy, but I'd rather captain Teddy than Turbo.
Yep, fair. All right. What else have we got? KPP play KPP or Savage in the reserves this week.
KPP.
Savage against the Tigers.
KPP.
Could be anything.
All right, Guru.
Savage.
KPP.
I was hoping to get a bite there for something.
KPP.
KPP starting on an edge. You have to. I mean,
pick him. What Savage scored? 50 last week with a try in a line break.
Yeah. People are just looking into the Tigers matchup, I think. But fuck, we don't know what they're going to come out and do in week 1.
Defensive stalwarts, mate.
They could be the St. George that we're talking about.
Imagine.
Yeah, could be.
All right.
Yeah, look, fuck, there's Lomax versus the Dolphins as a captain is the last suggestion for me and Johnson.
No, I was joking.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
I don't mind that at all.
Fuck no.
Goal kicking on the wing. He had 23 runs last week. That's got to be a career high for Lomax. And I understand why people are picking him. It's just the price is so deterring. $630K.
If he was 540, I'd be like, oh, boys. But 620, you're like, I mean, shout out to anyone that did start with him, though.
Yeah, it's true. Guys, that'll wrap us up. About an hour 45. It's pretty stock standard for us these days. Tons of questions. We thank you for bringing them all in. Obviously, if you want to become an Insight Unlimited member, jump in the Discord and follow the prompts in there, and you can ask us as many questions as you want in there. And also, you can ask us questions for our specific listener or unlimited Q&A podcast that'll be coming out probably Thursday morning. So stay tuned for that one. Join in on the Insight Supercoach World Cup as well. If you haven't yet, you can still sign up for $10 until Thursday night when the AFL centre bounce. I was going to say kicks off. Don't do kickoffs in the AFL, do they? So join the Insight Supercoach World Cup. It'll be good fun. We'll be back on Sunday to wrap everything up. Good luck this week. Fingers crossed a little bit better than last week. We'll catch you on Sunday.
Cheerio.